What is the most obvious lie you have ever been told? When a coworker told my own story back to me as his own. Twice. I had a friend do this once. He was hanging out with a large group of my friends that he hardly knew, and my best friend, still my best friend to love that fucker, just went, wow, it's so crazy you had verbatim the exact same childhood story that Jason has told us all before. Right down to the small town in Kansas where it happened, and the color drained straight out of his face. Didn't say a word to me for like 3 days. Dude turned out to be a pathological liar on many levels. Very strange to think how I spent 4 years of high school with someone lying straight to my face constantly and didn't realize it until that moment. Wow, that's crazy. Reminds me of the time I had a friend do this once. He was hanging out with a large group of my friends that he hardly knew, and my best friend, still my best friend to love that fucker, just went, wow, it's so crazy. You had verbatim the exact same childhood story that Jason has told us all before. Right down to the small town in Kansas where it happened, and the color drained straight out of his face. Didn't say a word to me for like 3 days. Dude turned out to be a pathological liar on many levels. Very strange to think how I spent 4 years of high school with someone lying straight to my face constantly and didn't realize it until that moment. When I was a public defender, my dipshit client called up his victim from the jail phone the night before his trial. He said kill repeatedly in an attempt to intimidate her. When I was telling him how stupid this was, his excuse was that he was watching Kill Bill and someone changed the channel on the cell block communal TV. That dumb butt is now doing 28 years in prison. Do you have any other funky stories of your time as a public defender? I feel like it's the place where you see the most crackheads when you're a lawyer. I see plenty of crackheads being legal counsel for my county board now. There's always at least one dumb boomer that thinks he's emperor of the universe because he's on the board. I'd send my legal opinions in writing telling them not to do dumb shit because it was illegal or a waste of money. Dumb butt would put those on his personal website. The newspaper would quote my confidential memorandum showing how this idiot was voting to do some either outright illegal or stupidly waste taxpayer money. He did this repeatedly during his 2-year term. He didn't bother running for re-election. Citizens would show up to call him out at the meetings. It was like the Jerry Springer show, but with local politics. I speak French, though I'm losing it from lack of use. But one of my college guy friends started dating a girl from France. He was all excited because she could talk to me in her native language and I could help translate. So he brought her to a party at my sorority house and introduced us. I greeted her in French with a very simple bonjour, bienvenue, comment of which is just hi, welcome, how are you? Blank stare and red face in response. She then said, in what I thought was a kind of strange accent, that sorry, she didn't understand me. I looked at the guy and said I thought you told me she was French, because maybe she was a different nationality, and he was confused. He looked at her and she just turned and left. He followed, then returned a bit later and said he had caught up to her, and she started screaming at him in perfect Midwestern accented English that he was a jerk for setting her up to look like a fool. He had genuinely been excited that he could introduce her to someone she could talk to, so he was blown away by her accusations and then angry that she lied. She apparently felt faking an accent would make her more appealing or something. I would see her around on campus after that, but she avoided me like the plague. TBH. I felt bad for her. But if you're going to fake it, at least pick a country with a language you can speak. Reminds of that post where the guy has been faking a Norse accent for all of college, but is screwed BC he wants to marry his GF that thinks he's Australian. Knew a kid like this. He was a loser, but he would go to frats at the nearby college and talk like an Aussie and the frat guys would eat it up. Apparently he got exposed. I don't know a car. He periodically texts my friend group that he wants to reconnect or whatever, and it's like dude, we cut you off for a reason. My first watch was an Omega and I saved up on high school to get it. One of my good friends back then asked to wear it for one period and would give it back at lunch. He begged and begged, so as a HS kid I gave in, or cold and keep saying no I guess. Weak on me, obviously. Well, He smashed it, apparently smashed the GL butt, tested it, gave it back, and said it was a fake and that's why the GL butt cracked, and said he didn't do it and it just fell apart. Asshole became a medical doctor, and is now involved in politics and holds state office. I'm still pissed about the watch he never admitted he broke cause he was salty and jealous. S. Dickhead then. N. Dickhead now. W. When I was a kid, the internet wasn't a thing, so my friends were whoever happened to live in the neighborhood. One kid was a well-known liar and exaggerator. We were maybe 14 years old at this time. This kid could play guitar and was always talking himself up about it and talking about his band. He actually could play, but his band did not exist. One day, I called him at his house. From my house. I don't remember what it was about, but a few minutes into the conversation, told me, by the way, I'm in Florida with my band. Just out of the blue. This was before even pages were a common thing. I called him at his house. I just said something like, okay, and ended the conversation. I then proceeded to tell all the other kids in the neighborhood. My friend told me that getting a Peloton changed her life. I looked up her workout stats, and she had used it 4 times in 5 months of owning it. Her husband fared a little better with using it 9 times. Don't know why this annoyed me so much. Being able to tell people she owns a Peloton changed her life. Using it would be overkill. Real talk. My roommate got the Peloton right at the start of the pandemic. He went from 370 pounds to 190 in about 8 months. He combined Peloton rides with intermittent fasting. I watched him sweat the pounds away. Also, the instructor has nice boobies. My little girl told everyone in the supermarket that our cat died and she was sad. We don't own a cat. Well, not anymore. Now we have a smelly cat carcass. In 5th grade, a friend of ours used to try to convince us he used to hang out with the band Sublime, among other stuff. He said that he was the person featured on the cover of their self-titled album, and he used to do drugs with them, and even tried heroin once. We were ducking 11 years old, and he claimed this all happened 2 years before he even moved to our school. So yeah, a ducking 9-year-old did all this wild shit. We constantly called bullshit, but he would just continue to lie and make up more stuff. We stopped hanging out with him because he was so full of shit. When I was 15, I had a friend that tried to tell me the exact same story. What if Sublime was just hanging out with children? What if it's the same friend? My mom, after 11-year-old me accidentally destroyed her favorite vase by throwing my brother's stuffed animals around the living room. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. Oh, that hurts more. When my friend was an infant, her mother put a 2-year-old sibling in her crib while the mom left the room briefly. When mom came back, my friend was crying and had teeth marks on her forehead. When mom asked the older sibling what happened, she calmly said, "She bit herself." My sister, 2 at the time, did this to me, 6 at the time. She bit me on the back hard enough to draw blood, and then when my mom and dad came in the room, she instantly changed faces and asked, "Are you okay? How did this happen, mommy? Is Gold H2O going to be okay?" We still laugh about it to this day, especially since the thing that sparked her to bite me was a song in a Yo Gabba Gabba episode. Used to have a friend that spewed bullshit all the time. Told me her bio parents, who lived together, were divorced and seeing other people, and also that she had 25 siblings. Brought it up to her mom one time, which was an interesting conversation. She also told us she had cancer, and then a week later it was miraculously cured. Edit, spelling. I have a family member who did the cancer thing. A cousin found out it was a lie, but the one that I'll never forget was when I introduced her to my friend who has lupus. I don't know how the topic came up about it, but she literally told my friend in front of me that she also had lupus. I immediately ended the conversation and left. I told my friend she was lying, and now we laugh about it, but seriously, no shame. Why do people do this? It is so ducking weird. I had a colleague who pretended to have cancer for months. She lied about her kid having deadly allergies. Lied about her husband having a terminal illness. What is going through your mind? Exclamation mark. We are not playing favorites. Apostrophe. Was told I needed to buy my own car as a teen and I did. Following year my baby bro was given a free car. Has 15 MOs younger. Is now 56 still living at home. My sister had her car and college pretty much paid for. I was basically told to kick rocks. In high school a buddy told me that he didn't steal our other buddy's watch. He was wearing the watch when I asked him about it. Long-term borrowing. He'll give it back, some say, I'm sure. Some might say so, but I'm not one of them. A childhood friend and I met up for coffee one day after not meeting for a few years. He casually let it slip that ever since he earned a black belt he has had to register with the state as a human weapon. My hands are registered as lethal weapons. That means we get into a fight. I accidentally kill you. I go to jail. Apostrophe. Anybody accidentally kills anybody in a fight, they go to jail. It's called manslaughter. Apostrophe. What a great line from a great movie. I never said you had to sign the document if it wasn't true, says the person with 3 mls telling me to sign a document even after I said it wasn't true, sitting on her outbox. I was given a blank lease from a realtor and he told me to sign it. Nope. By blank I meant a standard Ontario lease with nothing filled in. Had the same conversation with unscrupulous tow company. Had just been in a major wreck, and while pulling items out of the car I knew we'd never see again. They handed me a blank form to sign. Don't worry, we will fill in the details afterwards. Fuck off. I'm sure it worked plenty of times, considering they were targeting people in moments of vulnerability. Any lieutenant saying that the platoon can go home early on a Friday if you work hard right now. Just about anything a lieutenant says should be run by the captain first, unless the lieutenant says, I don't know, in which case he's probably right and is probably prior enlisted as well. I did brush my teeth. I swear. Apostrophe. This toothbrush. Bone dry. So we agree that this is your toothbrush? We cannot give you a raise right now, but we will compensate you as soon as the budget allows. Turns out when the budget allows is when you already have another job offer and put in your 2 weeks notice. I was told by a senior employee, not my manager, but technically a step above them, that my best bet for moving up in the company would be to leave and come back in 3 years. A colleague used to tell to his subordinates, if you want more money, find another job. Don't take this the wrong way. I don't want you to leave, but the only way I'm getting more money for you past upper management is by telling them you're leaving for a better offer. I can finish this 104 game tonight. One does not simply finish a 104 game. I don't think I've finished a Civ game in over a year and I play it every other day. By turn 80 to 100 I start obsessing over some tiny minor mistake I made, and I exit to main menu and restart with random Civ. Random map. As a tax accountant, I'm told lies about how much money people actually made all the time during tax season. My favorite was a guy telling me he's broke because he only makes $35,000/year in New York City, so my very reasonable fee is too much for him. He says this after he asks me if he can deduct the new BMW 5 Series he just bought his son all cash. It isn't just the lie, but the added insult of such a bad lie told to one's face that is so galling. Had another client last week tell me he doesn't have any money to live because of the pandemic. He bought a $750,000 condo in Greece as a vacation home a couple months ago. It's like these people forget that our job is literally to track what they do with their money. The company is in a great shape, so don't pay any attention to rumors about financial trouble. Had have been there. Don't worry, the order book is full. We're in great shape. 1 week later I'm made redundant and 2 weeks later the company folded. When my little brother mixed like 50 condiments, including sprinkles, ketchup, cereal and stuff, into a bag of popcorn and ate it, telling us it was delicious when his face looked like he'd just ate 10 extremely sour warheads at once. He later admitted he just wanted us to eat it, but we never did. One time my little brother tried to make me a sandwich just to be nice, but said sandwich was just chocolate chips cookies covered in mustard between 2 pieces of bread. He clearly wanted to see how I'd react, and I of course refused to eat it. He told our mom I was being rude, and the worst part was, after she actually saw the sandwich she still said I was supposed to humor him. I just threw it away and told both no. Wow, your mom was in on it too, lol. My brother told me I was a dragon and I totally believed him. Man, I was a dumb kid. But now I'm a dumb adult. At least you have your horde to comfort you. My horde is my Steam library and I can never ducking choose what to play. Loyalty to a company would be repaid. When I was a teenager I worked at a grocery store, which went under and was in the process of being bought by a new one. We were told during this process that our loyalty would be rewarded and would all get to keep our jobs and whatnot. I hated that job anyway and ditched it for a different one. But it turns out that after about a week or so they just fired everyone and sold it to a bigger grocery chain. Loyalty cards only last for one turn. Thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe for more videos.